have some pretty big expectations for tomorrow. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more content. No, I'm not just saying that because tomorrow is Christmas Eve. I'm saying that because tomorrow is the OCG ban list. I want to talk about, looking at our list for a basis here. And did you know that OCG players are very confused by our list? I was reading some Twitter posts from a few people, X post, and they were like, oh my gosh, why did the TCG ban is sold? Surprise face. The TCG has it back? Well, first of all, I think most of the TCG was kind of the same way about IP coming back. We were all like, I don't know about that one, but okay, sure, we can bring it back. I think most of the consideration for the TCG is just it's going first, We're heading on into a board breaker format the way it looks. And, it's okay, but the comparisons between the games is very, very, very crazy to me, that you can see such huge differences actually happening. So there's that giant snowball. It's sold? No way. Well, the OCG's not going to get a sold ban. That's pretty standard, I feel like, at this point in time. You kind of take the good with the bad in terms of, your development. So where are we looking with the OCG list here? Now, if the OCG doesn't bring title back to this list and they follow the TCG and they're like, hey, we're gonna just bring back Redux, something's a little bit fishy. Water support in the future, wait to bring back title until we see that. Is that what we're seeing off over there in the horizon? I was kind of thinking about that, and I was like, that is a little bit of a possibility. We could see that actually happen here, but the OCG could also be crazy and just bring back Redux. Bring back Tempest and just not bring back Redux. Both formats each have a different dragon ruler legal at this point, but neither here nor there. Couldn't be the possibility of that happening. Now, I will say that I think that the OCG is going to bring down the hammer on Fire Kings. And the reason why I say this was they're pretty notorious for looking at these YCSJ ban list, or looking at the YCSJ events and going, hey, this deck just won this previous 4,000 man event, we need to do something about that. And unfortunately, your last major competitor that happened to just so happen win one of these tournaments, you guessed it, it's Fire Kings, which unfortunately, Fire Kings, you've got a little bit major of a target on your back, I feel like, at this point. But that's what happens when you're able to smash through a 4,000 man event. You got people looking at you weird now for the metagame going, you need to do this. Also, the Year of the Fire stuff has been a massively generic, crazy thing. All right, I don't think anybody's really arguing that way. Konami's not going to want to touch anything in the Diabellstar package itself right now because heavy, heavy, heavy lore right now. All right, I understand, maybe in the future we can, but not at this point just yet. You've got players that are starting to explore this lore, and if you're going to go after consistency packages, it reminds me of the flashbacks to Tyr and Kashtira for watching those decks start to get off the ground, and you start to see the explosive capabilities that we were getting out of that. I think Konami was trying to avoid that, but for now, it's a little bit rough, because Fire King 150% is going to be one of the biggest things that Konami's going to try to go after and check. Now, one of the more major things of these ban lists, I guess the difference between the TCG and the OCG list, they are designed very differently, it feels like, for the more modern era, because Konami TCG uses the list as a way to shift a meta and to want to draw players back into the game. Because, you know, when a format feels very, very stale, and, you know, Konami wants to bring back decks to entice players to want to kind of do the thing. Now, it's not to say that Japan doesn't do the same thing, but Japan's semi-limited list is a lot different from ours. You know, they actually use theirs for consistency hits. Meanwhile, you know, the TCG, well, once again, this comes down to the TCG, OCG, Max C argument. Right now, the TCG is trying to balance the game in a way where we can have a going second format actually be viable. And with a huge shift in those cards, meanwhile, you know, Max C over here is just the king of making, you know, unhealthy decisions be the thing. That's always, it's going to be the central argument for eternity out here for this. So I just wanted to put that on the table and go, you know, no matter what we're expecting off of this heavy hitter, one, there's going to be some crazy things swinging either way. Number two, Master Duel. You know, people don't believe me when I say this, but Master Duel has implications on both ban lists. There's no difference there. The only thing that I'm massively confused about is why the TCG still doesn't have Invoker back at this point, while the OCG's got Invoker and it's not doing anything. But I mean, to be fair, I mean, we have our own biases looking at Zenmighty as well, you know. Zenmighty should have been back an eternity ago, but they're just afraid to bring these sorts of things back. I don't know what they're so afraid of. Like, that's the other big thing is you have a lot of things that players are very afraid to adjust and try out these sorts of things, at least at the top, you know, with the ban list designing. You know, free up some of this stuff. Let's test it. You know, you can reban it in 6 months. Or it feels like it's 6 months at this point in time for every OCG or every TCG list at this point. You know, taking away the date was the dumbest thing they ever could have done. But, you know, here we are. Outside of that, looking at this OCG list, most of the OCG format is typically 4 months ahead, 5 months ahead of the TCG, it feels like. You know, you got to factor for, like, the odd little shift in things. And, you know, you've still got the people over here in the corner going, no, our formats are not the same! And it's like, well, it's strange because if Rescue Ace and Fire Kings are doing good over here, you know, they're going to carry over and do good over here. You know, you always have niche, you know, push-offs and niche differences that will try to break that, sure. But that doesn't feel like it's the case all the time. So going into tomorrow, I will tell you, you're probably going to see something change in the world of Fire Kings. That means that people are going to start building their theories 4 or 5 months in advance for how the TCG is going to want to handle that. It'll be a good, interesting test to see how probably future changes in the TCG will go. I also can't wait for the OCG to get IB back and, you know, kind of see all that going around. I am also wondering if IB was a test for Master Duel in the OCG, because, you know, we've seen that before. You know, if IB comes back in the TCG and it doesn't really do much, well, you know, screw it, we can bring it on back elsewhere. IB is really broken with, like, the other half of the Guard Dragon package, you know, Ulpi and Pisty. You know, guess what we don't have? Some of those very important combo lines kind of help around that. And I think a few people were talking about, you know, this might just be another comparison to the Yang Zing, you know. We had our Yang Zing monster banned for so long, it came back, it did nothing at this point. So, you know, that's something, so maybe IB is fine. Maybe IB can make a huge difference in the OCG card pool and maybe spicing things up for them too. Maybe the TCG won't be the only ones to have some, you know, excitement out here. But I don't know. I think either way, there will be hits and misses. Also, Silent Forces is a deck. I am kind of curious to know what they got planned with that bad boy. You know, who really knows? But the only thing I am about 100% sure on, R.I.P. Fire Kings. Can't wait to see Ponix hit the 2. And they're like, that's it. That's the hit. That's exactly what we need to do. Consistency hits. Yeah, I appreciate you too. I can't wait to see the aftermath either way. But please leave a comment down below what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.